Hey guys, what's up and welcome to the channel. I'm the Shotgun Shogun, and as you can tell by the title, this video is going to be about some of just the things that I would like in the game, quality of life wise. Now, I've been playing it since day one right now, and I know automatically people are going to immediately go off of here as soon as I start talking about this and go, wait, why aren't you addressing stamina? Why aren't you addressing gold? Why aren't you addressing this? Why aren't you addressing that? These are quality of life things. These are just small things that I think would just help streamline the game, at least for me anyways. I know that there's a bunch of glaring issues out there that a lot of people have, but these are just some things, some little nitpicky things that I would like to see changed in the future just to make my day more enjoyable. Now let's start off with something that I really want them to put in the future. Now we've all had to walk dogs, right? We've all had to walk dogs. You know, right now I've got copious amounts of dogs right here, and one of the things that I would very much like to see, maybe not necessarily in terms of like leveling up, but in terms of promotions, right? I want promotions to be able to go, I want to put these 10 dogs, I want to put 10 max level dogs into a thing, or however many maxed out level dogs, and it just goes, hey, this is how many 3-star fodder you need. Like, obviously if you don't have that many 3-star fodder, you can't do it with that many dogs, so you would just give you a no, you can't do that, you need this many. So I feel like if you could do more at one time, because a lot of times I don't level them up right away. I sit on them until I get a mass amount of 3 stars. You know, I level up all my dogs, and then I level up my 2 stars, then I break my 2 stars. That's the other thing too, is if you're leveling up 3 2-star fodders at the same time, or hell, 4 2-star fodders at the same time, you got to go through each individual one. Now they did make it a lot easier where if you are promoting the same thing, it'll just go right back to the next one. But like when you got 2-star fodder, right? Let me get back to the actual fodder here. When you got 2-star fodder, you don't always have the same units. Like, let's say I get a maxed out machine flux, a maxed out carbuncle, and then a maxed out judgment griffin. Now if I promote this judgment griffin, I have to scroll all the way back up. I know somebody's like, oh my god, first world problems, real rough, but it is first world problems, and that's what I'm here to gripe about today, kind of. Well, not really gripe, just say, you know what, hey, these are things that would definitely help out a lot. But if I could just put in a whole bunch of maxed out 2 stars and then just slam 2 stars into their face, or let's say I'm mass stigmaing dogs, right? Let's say I need a ton of blue star dogs right now. It's a 30% extra or a double XP weekend, whatever, and I just need to level up dogs to get some stuff to 6 stars, and I'm just mass producing dogs. I go to the shop, I go to the hatchery, I just mass produce like 20 blue dogs. You know, I want to be able to put those dogs into a screen and just slam 2 stars into their face until they're all promoted at one time. I feel like that would just save me a lot of tedious work. I know, like I said, it goes right back to the 2-star dog, the next 2-star dog in line, but still, if you could that would save so much time. That would be 20 less clicks. So actually, 60 less clicks, because you've got 1 click for promotion. No, 80 clicks, 80 less clicks, because you got to put 3 in there, and then you got to hit promotion, and actually I think you got to press another one, so that's 100 clicks it would save you. Somebody check the math on that. I'm sure somebody will, but that's just a big thing I think that would help streamline stuff. Now I believe they talked about that in the past. I don't know if they can or what. I don't know what the coding functionality is on that, but I just think that would be something that would definitely help out. Now the next thing that I was thinking about the other day is, okay, you're in here, right? Let's say you're getting ready to gear a character out, and you're like, man, you know what? I need to find my piece. This character, I need to just put as much speed as humanly possible on them. Now it's really cool because you can go, okay, well, I need speed set and I need substat of speed, and you go in here and you're like, okay, cool, so all of these are my speed substats, and you would think, oh hey, this would be my fastest one, it's all the way at the top. No, you can't actually sort by give me the highest speed humanly possible. I would love to be able to sort by a substat. That way I know that the piece that I'm looking at, the stat that I'm looking for, this is the one. This one right here at the top, this one right at the front is the one that I want to put on there. And then you work down. So like, let's say, you know, my first 3 daggers are on, you know, core characters that I can't remove this from. Well, let's say the 4th one is still pretty good, but it doesn't have the other substats I need. Well, I can work down the line until I get that good mix of stats that I'm looking for, but with the priority substat. I think that having that as a filter, you know, or a sort option would be probably one of the best ones, because like right now it's filtering on only things with that substat. I would imagine that you could also probably put a filter on, you know, if it's like, okay, substat this, and then filter by either the lowest or the highest. I don't know why you would filter by the lowest, but that's just the way that it works. So that would be really, really good. And I think that would help out, especially like with people who have just copious amounts of gear to sift through. They're a crazy cat lady hoarder like me who has, you know, just tons and tons of gear that I'm like, you know what, one day I will find a character that will need this. One day that character will come around and this piece of gear will be perfect for them. It's not going to be, but I'm never going to throw that out because I have a problem, and I should be on like that hoarders show where they have an intervention with me and they're like, bro, if it doesn't spark joy, you got to let it go. You just got to let it go, dude. Just done. I think that would be really good. I think also mass crafting. So like normally you can only craft one at a time, right? And I'm going to go over here to my blacksmith, but don't yell at me by move all of my breaths out of my blacksmith when I'm not crafting, because it's just more convenient for me, right? I make more gold overall by moving it out of there, but like you can only craft one at a time. Like, let me just have a sliding scale that goes, I want to craft 20 pieces of this gear. Just boom, done. And then just pops up there with all of your gear, or it just pops every single time like the equipment packs do, right? I think that would be really good, because let's say, you know, I got 10,000 A11 mats right now. This would take me probably a good solid like hour to 2 hours to just slam through all of these crafts. Right? It would be way better for me to just be able to have a screen, go, even if it's 10 at a time, have a screen, and then they all pop up, and then I can look at the stats individually and then lock or whatever from there. And then I'm done. I move on. I do the next 10. I can just burn through those. Now, I know this isn't a problem for a lot of people because a lot of people just craft as they go. But honestly, like for me, what I like to do is I like to take all of my breaths out. I put my breaths other places that generate more gold for me, like once a month or like month and a half, when I've like stacked up just a metric pile of materials. I do a huge crafting and conversion session. That's how I usually typically do what I do. So, and that way it's just easier for me. I'm making money while my blacksmith's sitting around doing nothing. So I think that having that as an option to just be like slider bar all the way across, like I want to make 10, you know, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I want to make 100 pieces of gear. That would be phenomenal if I could. But I think that having it so that you could just go, boom, I want 10 pieces, I'm done. And then, you know, you just fill up a little bit faster, but at the same time, you know what pieces are there, you lock them, you go, oh, okay, those are cool, boom, on to the next 10, okay, cool. And then you can sort by stats. So if you are sorting by, let's say you just locked a couple pieces that had +4 speed on them, right? So you could easily filter by speed. You could filter by top. You know that anything at the very bottom is going to be 1, 2, or 3, and then you just go to where 4 starts, and then all of those you can just start leveling up. Pretty easy peasy, and then it's just simple. It would streamline things so much easier, and it would make crafting so much faster. Honestly, like one of the reasons why I don't craft that much, well, was because before it cost too much gold, but because it's just so tedious. It's like click, tink 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 dunk, tink 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 dunk, tink 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 dunk, and you're just like, oh my god, dude, I'm gonna be here for 5 hours doing this. This is brutal. So Smilegate, please fix that. Now, one of the other things that I would very much like, and this is something I've talked about before, is let's go in here to the story journal. You know what you see? No side stories, right? No side stories whatsoever. So unless a side story gets a rerun, people will never see those side stories, like, ever. They'll never see them in game. Now, don't get me wrong, like, a lot of times side stories are reran, but what about character side stories? Are we going to ever see the Pavel side story again? Once we get more characters with more side stories, are they going to rerun those? I doubt it. So I think that after you get a character, if they had a side story, you should just get the story. Events that they don't plan on rerunning, which, I mean, they've rerun just about everything so far, but do you think that next Halloween we're going to get the Lunar rerun? Or are we going to get Melissa and then a new Halloween event? That seems to be how Valentine's Day was this year. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that, you know, the big thing is, if your game is so story driven and you want people to know the lore and the side stuff and whatever, I'm not saying give everybody like a, you know, the side shop or whatever, but I think that once the event is over, once it's in game, let's say even if you don't have the character, right, you don't get the story, let's say it just comes with the character. Once you get the character, you get access to their side story, so you can learn more about the character, you can have more connection with the character. Right now, you gotta hope that somebody on the YouTube like recorded all of the side story and put it up there so that you can watch it. It's something that I've had gripes with in other games where I'm just kind of like, bro, you say your game is super story driven, right? Like, you want people to be invested in your story, you want people to be invested in your characters. Why would you limit the amount of story that they can see just because they started later than other people? Like, that's not really, you know, it's not really good to get your newer players involved in that. Also, sometimes somebody will be like, I'll be like, damn, who's that character? And somebody will be like, oh, you don't remember that from the side story that was ran like the third week of the game being out? No, I don't really remember what I did last week or what I talk about half of the time or what most characters do. And I think that having that to just go back, reference, look at, I think would be really, really solid, and it would get a lot more people who maybe are starting out now. They don't understand who any of these new characters are. They don't know why they should care. This will be like, oh, hey, in the journal, let's say you just literally go to, let's say you go to the character, right? Let's go to Destina, who had a side story. Now, let's say in here, you go in here and you're like, oh, okay, cool, Destina's stuff. All right, you would have a little button in here that would say read Destina's side story, and it would have all of the side story stuff, and you could just go through it and it would just be there. Because, I mean, realistically, I mean, I don't know if it's actually still there. They might just pull those files out at the end to save space or whatever, but I think that having it there would be very beneficial for new players and stuff along those lines. Now, I'm sure that there are plenty of other things that I could gripe about, things that are out there, but those are just some of the quality of life things that I've come up with just over the past like couple of weeks. Been playing. I already made my troll video about being able to turn off the indicator that your power level's not high enough when you go in there. Like, that's something that you should 100% be able to shut off. And I think that you know, some of these smaller things could just go a really long way. Now, you're gonna still have people complaining about gold, people still gonna be complaining about stamina, RNG. That's a whole different topic. These are just little things that I think would just make my day a little bit brighter, would make my day a little bit easier. Sorting gear, mass crafting, mass promoting, I think those would all be fantastic. But anyways, let me go what you guys think about this. If you guys do actually agree with me and think about it, so let the community managers know, share this out, we'll get some people on here, and if we get enough traction on this, maybe they'll listen and they'll start putting in some more of these things. But anyways, guys, if you are new to the channel, or if you did like this, think about hitting that subscribe button. smashing the bell notification like a Call of Duty Xbox player smashed your mom last night, but also make sure that you click on it to actually have it follow me, because YouTube doesn't like doing that. But if nothing else, just drop me a like and a comment, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy, homies. Peace.
Crack it.